guys, welcome to another episode of my channel, Every Last One, where we discuss post-punk, new wave, and electronic music by way of my vinyl record collection. Today we are here to discuss New Order, Brotherhood Definitive Edition. This dropped last week. It is a very extensive reissue. It's got a lot of bonus extras. Today we're going to discuss a little album history with New Order. We're going to talk about the remaster and how the new one sounds, discuss the DVDs and additional material, go through some of my other records in my vinyl collection. Before we get into it, please consider dropping me a like, and if you do enjoy this content, consider subscribing to my channel, leaving me a comment. It helps my algorithm and helps the channel grow, so every little counts. Starting with some album history, New Order's Brotherhood album was their fourth record, and it dropped on September the 29th, 1986. Initial album sessions got started in May of 1985 when the band traveled to Japan. They were there to play some shows in Tokyo and Osaka, and spent their nights in the studio working with a crew on a couple of tracks. Eventually those sessions would pan out as turning into As It Is When It Was, as well as State of the Nation, although all they got out of those sessions were some demos of those tracks. Sessions continued at Windmill Lane Studios in April of 1986. This time without Rob Gretton, their longtime manager and sometimes considered fifth member of New Order. He was off at rehab, so the group were actually producing this album themselves, and without a producer, they got rather experimental. Some new things that came out around this time included MIDI becoming more mainstream, and having access to an SSL desk and the ability to multi-track. This record is often regarded as having like a wall of sound with lots of layering, both from the musical parts as well as the vocals. Eventually, the album sessions would conclude in Liverpool at Amazon Studios. Despite the title being Brotherhood, longtime engineer Mike Johnson recalls that during these sessions, Peter Hook would be up in the morning with him working on the tracks, getting a mix-up. Eventually, Gillian and Stephen Morris would come into the studio, and many hours later, Bernard Sumner would join them, and at which point demand that they start over and drop what they'd already been working on. Moreover, Bernard had become a little more of an authoritarian, demanding that the band push forward in some more of a futuristic electronic direction. This was then highlighted by the fact that the record got split into two sides, with the more rocky tracks on side A and the electronic tracks on side B. In terms of how this record is remembered in the pantheon of history, a lot of people consider it a difficult album, and it isn't as highly regarded as the previous and the latter albums, being that it's sandwiched between Lowlife and both the Substance compilation from 1987, but what I consider to be New Order's swan song, 1989's Technique. So how does this remaster sound? The 2024 remaster is by far better than the collector's edition that dropped about 20 years ago. This particular remaster was done by Frank Arkwright at Abbey Road Studios, and it was overseen by Stephen Morris from New Order. Listening to the new 2024 remaster, there's a lot of width and separation. The soundstage is much bigger, and you can clearly hear there was an effort made to distinguish between the bass guitar from Peter Hook and Bernard Sumner's often dubbed cheese grater sounding guitar tone at this time. Additionally, there's a lot of attack, so you listen to a track like All Day Long, and the little sparkly, little twinkly high bits, the chimes really kind of come through and are very bright, very, tactile, I would say. The bass line on State of the Nation, a lot of attack. You can really hear those sounds really just kind of coming to their own. Both the digital, so the streaming version of this, as well as vinyl version. Now we're gonna get into the package. So this is the fourth of these box sets that they've released. And this little leaflet here covers everything that's included. So you get the vinyl album, you get 2 CDs, the first being a remaster of it on compact disc. The second is bonus material on CD, and then there's 2 DVDs as well. Before we go through that though, I'm just gonna go through some of my vinyl records from around this time period. This is my Brotherhood album. This is a Canadian press from 1986. Not very exciting, but the reason I want to point it out is because I've got this version here, which is the UK first pressing, which is the shiny metallic. I'm not going to take it out of the plastic, it's a bit of a pain, but by far a better pressing in terms of the sleeve. And why that's significant, so I could pull this out here. This is shiny metallic, if you can see that, both on the front and the back. Peter Saville, like all of their sleeves, designed this one, and they went to a construction site and got 2 metal sheets, Titan zinc and alucrane, and the intention here was influenced by Yves Klein's artwork. They wanted to photograph these metallic sheets, and even someone said, should I clean it up? And he said, no, leave it the way it is. I want to photograph it exactly like that. So the first of those sheets was for the Brotherhood album. And the second one ended up going into State of the Nation, which was the 12-inch single that was released about a week before the actual album came out. So this song here, State and Shame, was not on the official 12-inch. And then this metallic sheet that was used for this artwork here would later get put into Is Our Love Triangle, slightly different color treatment here. So I'm just gonna show this one off. Anyways, back to the 12-inch. This is preserving the authentic metallic look of the record. And inside you get the record itself plus the original inner sleeve for Brotherhood with the track listing, Factory 150. One of the main things that I love about these box sets is the book that they come with. This is 44 pages. They don't skimp on the quality here. In the archives, you've got the RX-11, the original drum machine, Stephen Morris's drum machine. You've got some Anton Corbijn photography. I've seen him photograph New Order before, but I haven't seen these photos. Notes, like Peter Hook's original notes from the album sessions, where he referred to Paradise as the haunted one. He referred to Way of Life as Age of Consent 2, which, fun fact, the bass line in Way of Life is the bass line from Age of Consent played backwards. And Way of Life ends with the guitar chords from Love Will Tear Us Apart. There's a lot of really great stuff in here. Lots to read as well. Posters, set lists, t-shirt designs, awards, some Kevin Cummins artwork as well. Stuff on the Salvation soundtrack, which we'll get to in a minute. Again, amazing artwork. Seen that album, Anton Corbijn, before. And then you've got the CD, again, metallic sleeve, bonus material. Bonus material, you've got tracks that would have made sense around this time, including the AOR version of Shell Shock, which was on, I think that was on the Pretty in Pink soundtrack. You've also got State of the Nation, Japan Demo, As It Is When It Was, Japan Demo, a remix from Paradise that was remixed and released on both the True Faith 12-inch single and New Order's original 4-disc box set. You've got the Salvation soundtrack on here, which we'll get to in a moment. But why this is cool in terms of extras, you've got All Day Long instrumental, which has a longer ending, and then you've also got Every Little Counts with the extended full ending. Additionally, you've got the original version from Salvation of Touched by the Hand of God. Paradise Remix was originally on this, which is the remix version of True Faith. This is worth it alone for the true dub version on the B-side, remixed by Shep Pettibone, which is a phenomenal 11-minute version that still includes some lyrics. Domestic version of True Faith with 1963. Got two pressings of this, one that's UK and one that's for Canadian market. Touched by the Hand of God, 12-inch. Salvation soundtrack. So this was a film from 1988 that New Order recorded the bits for and included, among other artists like Cabaret Voltaire and Arthur Baker, their own instrumental tracks. But Touched by the Hand of God and the 12-inch version in particular are up there with some of New Order's greatest tracks. We'll get to some of the other vinyls in a second here, but I'm gonna go through the Brotherhood DVDs. So the first DVD, you've got Brixton Academy from 1987. You've also got TV appearances where they play Ceremony, Love Will Tear Us Apart at BBC Studios, Paradise, State of the Nation, Broken Promise. You've got True Faith on Top of the Pops in 1987, where they actually mentioned that the doll that was used in the True Faith video's name is Terry. You've got Stephen Morris's home videos from Japan from 1985, when they went in Tokyo and recorded As It Is When It Was, as well as State of the Nation. DVD 2, you've got Manchester G-Mex from 1986, including Barney cracking up on a couple of tracks. And you've got Ian McCullough from Echo and the Bunnymen, who toured with them at this time, joining the band and singing on Ceremony. Additionally, you've got a few other live shows, including G-Mex in 88, Glastonbury Festival, where they play Sister Ray. This is New Order BBC Radio 1 in concert, which is from Glastonbury, 1987, where they play Touched by the Hand of God, Temptation, Bizarre Love Triangle, Age of Consent, Sister Ray, and others. Not the full set, but still pretty cool. On the DVD, you get to see them play True Faith and Sister Ray at this show at Glastonbury. This is another New Order bootleg. It's got them playing in 1987 at Woolwich Coronet. 2nd of April 1987, London Finsbury Park, 6/6/1987, Dusseldorf, December 6, 1987, and then Glastonbury, you've got Sister Ray again. So all in all, solid box set. Really like the extras, particularly seeing Stephen Morris's home videos from Japan, seeing Barney getting loose and drinking and just having a laugh. If you want some additional content to follow up on around this time, Stephen Morris has been doing the interview circuit. There's a really good Brooklyn Vegan article with him discussing this box set. And additionally, there is a highly recommended podcast called Transmissions, where it's into second season, and there's, I believe, episode 3 or 4 discusses the Brotherhood sessions and everything that ensued. So that's where I'm going to leave it today. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any comments or anything about this, please leave it down below in the comments. If there's something you'd like me to review, please let me know as well. Every little counts. Take care.